take those shots and having pride that I'm going to make it and knock it down next time, that's something I've seen growth into as well. So.
Okay, let's go to the second row over here.
Hi, ladies. Brad from W Swish. Can either of you speak to Addie's impact, what she's been bringing to the team over the course of the past few weeks?
Yeah, Addie is a great player. She has a really high clip at the three-point line. And, you know, as a freshman, it's hard to be thrust into a game where, you know, there's all this athleticism and strength, and the pace of the game is quicker. And so I think she's doing a really good job learning on the fly and getting better through that.
Chit-Chat, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, she brings a lot to the game, and I know a lot of people there's a lot of pressure on her coming in as a McDonald's All-American, but she continues to come in every day and work just as hard as everybody else, and it shows on the court as well. So.
Okay, let's go in the back.
I'm Sarah from IU Sports Capital Program. For both players, can you explain what made UCLA's offense so difficult to stop?
Yeah, I can take it. You know, there's just not a lot of weaknesses. You know, you can try to front bets and you can try to help off the corner, but they're going to find that person that's a pretty good three-point scorer. You know, you think, you know, her sister coming in, you might have a little drop off, but what was she today? 7 for 8, right? They just don't have a lot of weaknesses offensively. And they can put it on the bounce. They can score, you know, interior. It's, you know, score at will. They could probably, you know, just throw it to Betts most of the time and score. And they have Kiki Rice, a premier point guard. So they just have a lot of weapons. And they'll make you pay for, you know, a gamble, but you have to pick sometimes what you're going to do. If you're going to front, if you're going to play behind, you're going to double. So they make you pay for that. But then on top of it, you know, typically you just make some mistakes in a game just because you're human. And when you make a mistake on a closeout, or we had a bad rotation, they're going to make you pay for it. And also, we're pretty decent in transition defense. This was as poor as I've seen us play transition defense this whole season. But I do think that is sometimes the mark of a younger team. You just can't reel it in mentally. And you're just forgetting to hustle back, and you have to take Neepkins even if you're a post player, because you know she's going to jack it. And those are things we weren't as headstrong as we could have been. But it's just their depth. And if the pundits are right, I mean, they say they're all going to the league, right? Which is pretty impressive, you know. Most of us, if we have one or two, go. But they have a lineup like that.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and dismiss the players. Wish you a lot of luck in the NCAA tournament. Thank you. At this time, if the Iowa folks would want to get a question or two in with Coach, go ahead.
Hi, Coach Jan. Jonah Fry with the Daily Iowan. Following what's happened these last few days in this Big Ten tournament, what is your message to the team now heading into the NCAA tournament? Well,
I think the big thing I really have to do is make sure that, you know, everybody else is going to make a, you know, major deal about this, and I probably will too, but I can't let them. Because they've had a heck of a year. And, you know, it really wasn't our day. I don't think we should have lost by this margin. I really don't. I think we just let it get away from it, and that's on me. But I do think UCLA is very, very good. So we just have to, you know, take our licking, and we have to, you know, just understand that we played a great, great team, and we weren't nearly at our best. But I've got to focus on that glass that's half full, because these guys did a lot of things this year that a lot of people didn't think they would ever do. And it's just, you know, it's unfortunate this ending had to be, you know, quite so lopsided. But if you take that out of it, this team has really done a lot of great things, and I hope we'll use this disappointment and you know, make us better. One of my favorite quotes is, disappointments and setbacks make losers bitter, but they make winners better. And I would just be surprised if this group didn't let it make them better.
Let's go to the far side over here.
Jack Maloney, CBS Sports. You mentioned Kiki Rice earlier. I'm just curious, from an opposing coach's perspective, just what makes her so difficult to deal with?
I mean, she's just a 3-level scorer. She's strong, she's big, she's tall, she's confident. She can defend full court. She can pull it behind you go below her ball screen. You chase over the top of it. She can get into the rim. She can hit a three. It's not her favorite thing, maybe her strongest thing, but she does it better than most people in the country. And she's just heady and a leader. Just is definitely a coach on the floor. She talks, she leads, she's calm, she's steady. So that type of leadership, with everybody else they have, that's a pretty lethal leader.
Okay, let's go to the second to last row in the center.
Dwayne Marcus, Basketball Society. Despite the result, this is what I believe is the 6th time that you guys have played in this game in the last 8 years. Can you talk about what that means to you for this program to be a staple at the top of the conference for so long?
Yeah, I think I am proud of that. We've had a lot of success in this tournament. It's hard to get here. It's just hard. March is fun. It's hard. Sleepless nights and quick adjustments. I was thinking about, today we had the 8 o'clock shoot around and, I kind of pulled their team and, elected to get a little sleep, but you just don't have time to go over different actions. So you kind of do it in the ballroom, right? So they're just really good. So you get here and you're playing, I think this will be probably one of Corey's best teams of her career. She might, lock up and reload, but this particular group is pretty stellar. I am proud of the history that we've had. I certainly have a tremendous mentor, Lisa Bluter, getting us here and, putting us in those positions. And obviously we got a few titles, her last part of her career. So, that's what I'm trying to do. Didn't look like it today, but our motto is blue collar, blue bloods. So we're trying to win those blue collar plays. But I like the makeup of our team, and I think we can keep us in that upper echelon.
Final question for Coach.
Yes, hi, Coach. Brad from W Swish. Can you please speak to the growth that your freshman and sophomore have gone through over this grueling Big Ten season?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they've really been coming along. Chit-Chat, Wright. We just didn't see as good what you did a little bit last night, but I think she's going to really turn into something pretty special. I played her too many minutes and kept running things forward. She wasn't quite as effective as a shooter as she really can be. But she's really grown by leaps and bounds. You think about a year ago, she was coming off the bench at Georgia Tech, and then I think she got a couple starts, but then she's been asked to kind of lead and take us, a program that's continuing to try to be on the rise. So I think she's really grown by leaps and bounds. I think Ava Heiden, it wasn't her best performance today, but it's still 7 for 11 against Betts. And we didn't make it so easy with her because our guards were facing so much pressure. That's why we really couldn't get a lot going. I just couldn't get our guards freed up to be able to, get some actions for themselves other than Chit-Chat. But I think Ava, Taylor Strimlow, she had such a stellar game last night. She's got a lot of moxie, and she's really developed and come on. Journey Houston, boy, she's been, she's definitely undersized today. She's been undersized most of the season, but she's the big reason why we've got here. Addie Deal is, freshman. I think Chit-Chat said it, came in with a lot of fanfare and hype, but, you still have to adapt and, understand the process is the process, and I think she's done that really beautifully. I'm pretty excited about the future. We got a really great kid coming in out of California as a freshman, so I am really pleased with that.
Coach, thank you very much. We wish you the best of luck as you advance.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for covering women's sports.